Hi, welcome back, guys. This is LeMonde here. I hope you're having a great day. I want to talk to you today about something which I've seen, I've noticed, I've learned, I've experienced over my life, and that is fear. Fear is one of those things which we all know, we talk about it a lot, but it dominates our lives quite often. Not everyone, but for the majority of us, it dominates our lives. We fear in relationships, especially losing a loved one. We fear rejection. We fear being hurt because we've opened our heart to someone. And when we get that fear, we do things which we normally wouldn't. Fear often has, as we all know, three common responses to a thought which is fearful. So that is fight, flight, or freeze. And when we fear something, when that fearful thought pops into our head, we have to be really careful and mindful. This is where mindfulness comes in, not to react to it, but rather try and process that thought as best as we can. It will cause us maybe a little bit of tension, and this thing called this tension scale, where you rate yourself with self-awareness about how much tension is rising in you when you have one of these thoughts, a negative thought, a fearful thought, whatever you want to call it. And when you feel that tension rising, then that fight, flight, or freeze response kicks in. And that fight, flight, or freeze response is actually a response we learned as a child to protect ourselves. We learnt it from those around us, and whatever seemed to work for us tends to be our dominant response to fear. Like some of us just get very angry and aggressive and fight all the time, and that's because of a fear response where early on in life that person learnt that fighting, being angry and fighting, was the way to protect oneself. And because they didn't die, they assume that this is a really good thing. It protects me. And it makes sense when you're young, but that fighting response does not serve you at all. As an adult, you have to learn new ways to handle fearful thoughts. That's part of growing up. The other common one is flight, okay, to a fearful thought that we have. And, that is quite often we just walk away, we run away, we'll leave someone, especially if we're dating or in a relationship. We have a fearful thought, oh my God, I'm going to get hurt, like this person doesn't love me anymore, or you feel insecure, or whatever it is. And this fearful thought gets in your mind, and then you decide, I'm going to leave, but I'm going to break it off before they break it off for me so I don't get hurt. That's a fear response. And so breaking it off and then leaving, that's part of the flight response. And you need to get that and understand that. The third one is freeze. And that's where a person just sort of like shuts up. They don't respond at all. They don't take on any information. They just sort of like, I don't want to talk to you now. I don't want to talk to you now. You're just making it worse. Shh, quiet. Okay, so that's the freeze response in action. Sometimes you get a combination of the two. Someone might hit you and then run away, or someone might walk away and not respond to you. So that would be a combination of flight and freeze-ish, if you get what I'm saying. Some people might disagree. I don't know. Write in your comments below about that one. But the point is that those three responses, fight, flight, or freeze to fear, you learn them as a small child, and they've become habit. You've learnt them as going into adulthood, and they no longer serve you as a good way to protect yourself. As an adult, you need to make sure that you have adult communication and adult ways of handling that. There are some good anger management courses online that will help you with that fight response, and I dare say that from what I've seen of them, they could be implemented for the flight and the freeze response as well. You need to change your thinking. You need to change the meaning. You need to get that, what you're thinking actually isn't true. That fearful thought isn't true. None of our thoughts, even the positive ones, aren't true. But if we can try and hold on to those, focus on a more positive, helpful thought that connects us to a person, then that will get us through that fearful phase. It'll stop us from having that fight, flight, or freeze response. So look, think about this. Try and have self-awareness in your life. Look around. Look for examples where you see others around you where they're doing this fight. It might be being argumentative. It might be a flight response where they just leave the room. It might be a freeze response where they just sort of like clam up and they refuse to talk or acknowledge anything. look at it in your life as well. What are you doing? Can you reflect? What did yesterday look like for you? Was there a time or a point yesterday where you can acknowledge that I had this fight, flight, or freeze response, and it was due to a fearful thought, and it was just a fearful thought, and it's not going to come true. I need to start changing my thought habits and focus on giving things positive meaning now. So look, practice that. I hope this has been helpful for you. Let me know in the comments below. Have you seen someone do this? Do you do it yourself? How are you handling it in your life, or how is it affecting your life? Wishing you all the best in your life and in your relationships, both intimate, personal, work, friends, all of the rest. This is LeMonde signing off. Best of luck.